Hey there, it is Jer SD here. I'm your coach of the Seattle Pidgeots, and we are here for week 5 of the IBL. Um, I was going up against Will, aka the coach of the Somerset Steenees. Of course, coming into this match, we were 3-0. Four 0 in week 5. And probably facing our toughest matchup yet, I think. Pretty hard to deal with in week 2. But I think just the amount of threats on Will's team just gave us kind of just a terrible matchup on paper. His team consists of Galarian Darmanitan, Gyarados, Landorus Therian, Heatran, Crobat, Sceptile, Mega Sceptile, Cloyster, Galarian Corsola, Abomasnow, Mawile, Rotom Fan, and Smeargle. So of course you can see he's got rocks, he's got spikes, he's got webs, he's got a bunch of defoggers, he's got Aurora Veil, he's got tons of speed, he's got great defoggers in Landorus, Crobat, Rotom, he's got a spinner in Cloyster, and then he's got the Galarian Darmanitan, which is very strong. Obviously Lando super strong, Gyarados super strong, Heatran can be annoying, Sceptile super fast, super strong, Cloyster has Shell Smash, just a whole bunch of options versus me. Of course, my team, Coco Lucha, Tangrowth, Rotom Wash, Blaziken, Mega Garchomp, Azelf, Skuntank, Bronzong, Miltank, Spiritomb, and Articuno. So for this matchup, I looked at the matchup right off the bat, and I thought, other than Landorus and the Galarian Corsola, Kalucha had an excellent matchup with Stab plus Stone Edge, and had a very good chance of being able to set up and break or set up and sweep at the end, or not even have to set up at the end. So we're just bringing standard Electric Seed with Unburden. We're adamant this outspeeds the Landorus, I think, without the Seed, or the Darmanitan, actually, I think is what it is. And then next up we had, this is my check to Miltank, or my check to Galarian Darmanitan, was Miltank. Earthquake, Toxic, Protect, and Milk Drink, with the Rocky Helmet and the Thick Fat, basically for any kind of Choice Scarf or Choice Banded sets. This was the optimum set. I had Toxic on a couple of their Mons that Darmanitan would want to maybe come in on a U-turn or whatever on, so I could click Protect, scout what he wanted to go for, whether he wanted to go for the U-turn, whether he wanted to go for the Icicle Crash, or some kind of coverage. And if he goes for the U-turn or the Icicle Crash, it's a free switch into Miltank. I get the Rocky Helmet chip on the U-turns, and I take like 20% from a banded, or no, scarfed Icicle Crash can heal up the damage. Earthquake lets me hit the Heatran, and it also breaks subs if he was a Zen mode set. Next we had Trick, Choice Scarf, Rotom Wash. I can trick the Choice Scarf onto something annoying, like the Corsola, and then the speed with Rotom with Stab is pretty effective versus Gyarados, versus Landorus, versus Crobat, versus the Cloyster, versus the Rotom himself, the Rotom Fan, and versus his Darmanitan even doesn't take Hydro Pumps very well. Next up, we have Air Balloon, 4 attacks, Tapu Koko, teching the close combat on there to take care of Heatran. Max speed this week, just in case he wants to run max speed Crobat. So just speed tie with Crobat there. And then we had Stealth Rock with Protect, Mega Garchomp, a faster variant this week, but still quite a bit of bulk. Basically just hits everything pretty hard and gets up rocks for me. And then, yeah, specially defensive Spiritomb. It's here for the Crobat. It's here for the kind of the Sceptile. Its Infiltrator with Shadow Sneak helps versus Darmanitan if he wants to set up and sub. Obviously, Toxic and Protect are good on there as well. So yeah, let's just get into the match. So he brought 5 out of 6 I think I would have expected. I expected the Sceptile over the Mawile, and then maybe something more defensive like Rotom over the Cloyster. So maybe 4 out of 6. Cloyster had a good matchup, but I thought Heatran, Landorus, Crobat, and Darmanitan had to come. So I figured either he'd bring defensive Crobat with defensive Heatran, or maybe just one defensive Mon and run Hyper Offense or something like that. But he ends up bringing the Cloyster and the Mawile. So you can see my 6, obviously. So I lead off with the Rotom. He leads off with the Mawile. The Mawile stays in and takes a bunch of damage with the... Sorry, that affected the audio. I was just fixing my headphones. Yeah, so it takes a bunch of damage from the Hydro Pump. Obviously, I don't reveal that I'm Scarfed just yet. He goes for the Play Rough. It did 50 or 89, which reveals that he is Life Orb, Max Attack, Sheer Force, which is scary. So we're gonna Miltank here. He goes for Sucker Punch and goes right into Landorus. As I go for the Earthquake. Here I go for the Protect. See what he wants to do. He wants to click Knock Off. Here I don't want to lose my Rocky Helmet for Darmanitan. So I switch out into the Garchomp, but he predicts that. And instead of going for Knock, he goes for the Toxic. Good play on his part. I'm able to just set up rocks here with the Garchomp. He goes for Sucker Punch, gets some chip, and Garchomp takes out the Mawile with Earthquake. Obviously, now at 45%, I was kind of scared of him setting up a sub, so I didn't want to go directly into the Miltank or Protect and Scout, which I maybe should have just done anyway. So he does take me out with a Icicle Crash, and I'm able to go into Miltank this time after that and click Toxic on the Landorus coming in. I click Protect just to scout what he wants to do. He wants to click Knock again. So this time I go into the Spiritomb. This time though he clicks U-turn and goes into the Crobat. He is not Boots, which is interesting to see. I go for the Protect, seeing what he wants to do. He wants to click Defog, so I let him, and then I go for the Foul Play. Does 46, good damage, but here he's going to switch into the Heatran. Protect there just to want to scout. Turns out he was actually Scarfed. I didn't realize that at the time. But yeah, he was actually Scarfed into Defog there, so the Protect was kind of not necessary. I go into Rotom, predicting the rocks, and then I click Hydro Pump here with Rotom, and that takes out the Crobat. I realized Hydro Pump was super good versus his team. Like the team that he brought, basically he had no resist, and the things that were neutral were Cloyster, which has terrible special defense, and Crobat, which is not too bulky if it's not super bulky, like investment wise, and Darmanitan doesn't want to take Hydro Pump either. So I get to go off a Hydro Pump. I get a low roll there, it doesn't take him out, revealing that I'm Scarfed obviously, and because I outspeed him, and he's naturally faster than me, I figured that he's not Scarfed there, and he might have been Boots or something like that. That's what I was thinking, and that comes into play later, obviously, as we do find out that he's actually Scarfed, even though he doesn't do that there. So this is where I had a problem. He goes into the Cloyster, I go into the Tapu Koko, and I guess this is, you could count it as a misplay, but I think it's it was the right play at the time. I go for U-turn instead of taking him out with a Thunderbolt. I did not want him to be able to get a Shell Smash off. He KO'd me without investment, and if he gets a Shell Smash off there, yeah, like I was thinking he's Focus Sash, basically, is what my thought process was. So I don't let him do that. I go into Spear Tomb, but he does end up going for the Shell Smash, which is pretty bad for me. He goes for Icicle Spear, and that's going to take me out. Spear Tomb not doing much in this game. I'm now down to 3 Mons. I go into Lucha. This obviously outspeeds. Go for the close combat and take it out. Then he goes into Heatran, and I figured he's Choppleberry, because obviously you wouldn't switch into a Heatran on a fighting type if you knew you couldn't. Unless you knew you could take it. Sorry. So yeah. So obviously he is Choppleberry. He doesn't take very much, and he actually goes for Roar here. Instead of taking me out. So I go into Miltank, Earthquake to take out the Heatran, and he goes into Landorus here. This was where I started to misplay. I think my misplay was right here, because instead of I go for Protect, or no, I don't go for Protect. I went right for the Milk Drink, but he ends up being slower than me. So he can knock off my Rocky Helmet, and then he's able to get a Toxic off on here, as I go for Earthquake for some reason. Basically just wanting him to wear himself down with the Toxic, figuring that Tapu Koko outsped the Darmanitan because I didn't think it was Scarfed. So if you use my logic, I don't think it was a misplay really to stay in. It was kind of just questionable. I could have gone into Hawlucha, take a knockoff or Toxic, and set up an SD and take out the Landorus. So, because I needed this thing around for the Darmanitan. Yeah, so just sorry, just hit a pause there. Anyway, so yeah, I let myself get Toxic here, which was not good in the end. And just Milk Drink here until he goes down to a Toxic, figuring that I live one hit from this Darmanitan and I will take it out and claim the 3-0 victory. But he flinches me, and that just screws me. It's a 30% flinch. I understand that. I clicked Earthquake there, so it would have obviously killed him at 6%, and yeah, just unfortunate way to go out. Yeah, so obviously you can see here in chat that I don't think that he's Scarfed, so very unfortunate. So obviously 85% accuracy, he can still miss, but he does not. And yeah, he's gonna outspeed me with Scarf Darmanitan, and he's gonna get the 106% win. So yeah, this was an interesting one. We'll be back next week with hopefully a better game. GG to my man Will. Obviously, he has no control over whether he flinches me or not. I'm not going to put that on him. I definitely could have sacked Hawlucha instead against the Landorus and then had Miltank at a higher HP. And he would have had to flinch me 2 or 3 times to win. So, you know, it's partially on me, but whatever. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Leave me a comment. Tell me something. I don't know. If you make it this far, let me know in the comments. Bye-bye.